when you got them, you're scared to death, treat them like fine china. Second one,
Oh, okay.
treat them like china.
Hold on, man.
Yeah.
You gonna get them taken away, man.
Have you ever thought what it would be like growing up in a group home or bouncing around from home to home as a foster child? I'm gonna let you know that this is not good, it's not good for a foster child or an adopted child. Not only am I an advocate for foster care and adoption, but I have 3 children of my own that are adopted. So you may be wondering how this speech applies to you today. You may come to a point in your life, or you may be at a point in your life where you're thinking about fostering or adopting a child. So I'm gonna go over a few main points before we get into this. I want you to know how to become a foster parent, different ways to adopt, what it means to have a stable home, and types of families that can adopt children. So let's get the ball rolling and dive into our first topic. How to become a foster parent and open your house to accommodate a foster child. First, you must pass a fingerprint background check. You gotta be CPR certified. Your house has to have working smoke detectors. And these are just a few things that you have to do to become a foster parent. Also, that child has to have a room of their own. So if you feel like you have a house large enough, you feel like you have a family that's willing, don't hesitate to call up the Department of Children's Services today and start talking to them about how to become a foster parent and get enrolled in the classes and training that you need to do just that. So now, let's move on to adoption. There are different types of adoption. There's domestic adoption, which my wife and I did the first time around. We have a child, Sam, who's 7 years old now. We got him when he was a month old from Louisiana. It's the best thing that we ever did. We never thought in our lives that we would ever adopt a child. But the Lord told us that was the road that we were gonna take, and that's what we were gonna do. There's also international adoption. International meaning that the child came from another country, but yet still needs a home, just like any other child does. They need a loving family. Just remember, that child may not look like you, may not act like you, but on the inside, they are the same as you. Also, there is embryo adoption, which is little known about. With that adoption, which my wife and I did for our second children, you actually adopt an embryo from somebody that has gone through in vitro fertilization. They have leftover embryos, and you go into the fertility clinic, and they actually implant those embryos into your wife. And she gets to experience pregnancy, and you get to adopt the children. But what we did is rare. We adopted 2 children through embryo adoption that are African American. So imagine that, a Caucasian family having African American twins. The reason we did this, because our other son is also African American. Now just remember, even when you do adoption, there is a tax credit at the end of the year that the government offers. For 2017, that tax credit was $13,570. Now, this won't cover all your expenses, but it does cover a majority of it. So think about that. That might lead you to want to adopt. So the next thing is, what does it mean to bring a child into your home and give them a stable home? Well, think about it. Would you want to bounce around from school to school every other year? Would you want to tote your clothes around in a trash bag? Because that's usually what they have when they come to your house, is a trash bag, usually full of clothes that don't fit because the previous family they were with took all the good clothes and gave them to their kids. That's what it means to be a foster child. So giving them a stable home also will keep them out of jail, give them the love that they need, and hopefully they will have successful lives and not be unemployed and not be homeless. So you gotta remember, at age 18, the child ages out. So what types of families can adopt? Well, these days it doesn't really matter. You can be a single mom, it can be a single dad, it can be a married family, but it can also be domestic partners. Anybody can adopt these days. That's just the way it works. So in conclusion, I want you to think long and hard. Would you ever want to foster? Maybe you want to adopt. But just remember, every child needs a loving home, and maybe that home is yours.
Did you say single?